And we are back. It has not even been 10 hours since last night's absolute horror show in the Europa League. So going into today's predictions, if I do say some things or make some very bizarre predictions, it's because my head still has not recovered from last night. And if you want to see my full raw dissection of that Manchester United display last night, then make sure to check out the previous video on this channel. We spend a good 20 minutes going into all the things I think are wrong with the football club at the moment. But as for today, it is game week 32 in the Premier League. We have got 8 games for you in the Premier League this weekend with 2 FA Cup fixtures, which will be discussed in tomorrow morning's video. As for the fantasy football video, that will be coming to you today at lunchtime. I'll be recording it straight after I have finished this one. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the good stuff coming up over the next few days. And if you aren't subscribed, we are only 9 subs away from the magic number of 500. So you could be the one to get us to another major milestone. And as always, thank you for your continued support. Let's get into today's video. And we'll kick off with Arsenal taking on Southampton. The slowly falling apart leaders versus the already fallen apart and surely doomed to relegation Southampton in this evening's game. And I think if we're all being honest, no one really expects this to go any other way other than an Arsenal win. Southampton need to produce a performance that we've not seen from them in a very, very long while. And yes, Arsenal may be starting to let things slip, but they have been performing well at the start of games, and Southampton have not been the sort of team that recover from poor starts over the last few weeks. So I'm going to go for a 4-0 win for Arsenal tonight. I don't think there's too many people that are going to be surprised by that. But we'll see what happens. You just never know in football these days with all the stuff that's been going on recently. Anything could happen. But for me, this is an easy win for Arsenal. On to tomorrow's games, and we'll kick off with Fulham up against Leeds United. Speaking of teams that are absolutely falling apart at the moment, no side is falling apart more than Leeds after their 2 last home performances. They now travel to a Fulham side who have got their confidence back after a great away win last time out. They're going to be expecting a repeat performance in this game, and I'm expecting them to produce a repeat performance as I go for a 3-1 win to Fulham in this one. On to Brentford and Aston Villa, and this is a really, really tough one to call. This is arguably the toughest one to call this week, in my opinion. Brentford's form over the last couple of games has not been at the standards you've seen from them over the course of this season, whereas Aston Villa's has been absolutely lights out. They are arguably the second best team in the league right now after Man City, definitely in terms of current form and performances on the pitch. So I can't look past Aston Villa winning this game. I just think they're playing so well right now. They deserve to be in the position they've got themselves into, and it's going to take something special to derail them at the moment, and I just don't think Brentford have that right now. So I'm going to go for 2-1 to Aston Villa. I still think it'll be a tight game, but I think in the end Aston Villa will get the job done. Next up, it is Crystal Palace, and Roy Hodgson's run continues as he now comes up against Everton, who are now in desperate need of some points after recent performances. They are teetering on the brink of relegation once again as Crystal Palace are flying away from the relegation zone, and that's the way I'm expecting this game to go. Everton need to produce something that they've not produced for a little while. Apparently Calvert-Lewin could be available for them this weekend, but how good is a unused Calvert-Lewin going to be against a very informed Crystal Palace side? So I don't see it happening for them. I'm going to go for 3-0 to Crystal Palace. They're playing some fantastic football at the moment. For whatever reason, Roy Hodgson has managed to get the most out of the players that were underperforming over the last few weeks under Patrick Vieira. Maybe it is just because they are playing easier opposition, but I would expect the likes of Elise and Eze, etc. to produce once again, and I'm going for 3-0 to Crystal Palace. Next up, it is Leicester up against Wolves with the Foxes in perilous trouble themselves. Wolves are not doing too much better, but at least they got a win last time out. This is a must-win game for Leicester, and they have to be targeting it as one that they should win. Now, obviously, we spoke about that similarly when they went up against Bournemouth last time out, and that didn't go their way, but I'm going to continue to back them because I think they have too much quality to go down, but someone has to go down, and if their form continues, it will be them. But I'm going to go for 2-1 to Leicester. I think Honestly, if they don't win this game, then they probably will go down. But I think they will win this game, and that is why I've gone for this prediction. Next up, it is Liverpool up against Nottingham Forest. And again, we must ask the question of Liverpool as to which Liverpool side is going to turn up. I thought they would beat Leeds United off the back of that comeback against Arsenal. And obviously they did that with an incredible performance and 6-1 win. So I think I'm within my rights to say that Liverpool take this one very heavily again as I go for a 4-0 prediction. However, it all depends what Liverpool side shows up. They are a momentum-based team, but they are also a form team, and form has not been consistent for them all season. But I have to think that off the back of 2 very good performances, they will continue to produce against a very poor-looking Nottingham Forest side. So I'll go for 4-0 Liverpool, but as always, we shall see, because it's just very, very tough to predict Premier League games at the moment. Speaking of tough predictions, as we move on to Sunday, we see informed Bournemouth taking on a resurgent West Ham United. It looked like it was going to be doom and gloom for them as well last night. However, they turned it round and got a fantastic 4-1 win against Ghent off the back of their recent high-end performances against tough Premier League opposition. Bournemouth have also performed very well recently with some high-profile wins of their own and have managed to get themselves a little bit above the relegation scrap right now. So this is really, really tough to call. Both teams are playing well. It then sort of comes down to who I think has the better players on the pitch. And for me, it is West Ham United. So with the greatest of respects to Bournemouth, I think they are more than capable of winning this game as well. I just have a feeling on West Ham for this one. And I'm going to go for 2-1 to the Hammers. And finally, the main event of the Premier League weekend sees Newcastle taking on Tottenham in an early kickoff on Sunday before Brighton versus Manchester United in the FA Cup semi-final. And this is a very, very pivotal game in both teams' essential futures, if we're being honest. If Newcastle can win this game, they put themselves in an incredible position to qualify for the top 4. Obviously, as a Manchester United fan, I would like Newcastle to win this game, or at worst case, this game be a draw, so the teams below us in the top 4 race start dropping down. Tottenham are more than capable of winning this game, but their recent form as well has not been good enough to suggest they are going to do that. St James's has been an absolute fortress for Newcastle this season. They're still the best defensive side in the league, despite that performance against Aston Villa last time out. And I have to think that Newcastle are going to take the win in this one. And I'm going to go for 2-1 to Newcastle United in this one. That is going to be it for today. As always, let me know down in the comments your thoughts on my predictions, as well as your predictions for this weekend's games. As I said at the start of the video, my fantasy football video will be uploaded at midday today. So make sure you stick around to see who I'll be picking in my teams for this week. And as for the FA Cup predictions, that video will be uploaded at the same time as this one, but tomorrow morning. So I will see you then. Thank you very much for watching.